Thank you for joining me for this month's Curators Tour. I'm Britt Mitchell, Curator of Exhibitions, and today we will be exploring my exhibition, Weaving the Narrative, the Works of Dinh Q. Dinh Q was a Vietnamese-American artist known for his large-scale photo weavings that examined the conflicting international narratives of the Vietnam War and the Cambodian Genocide. His work physically weaves together the truths of historic media, opening a dialogue between the subject matter and the narratives to create a landscape that is neither fact nor fiction. Forced to flee Vietnam in 1978 under the threat of the Khmer Rouge, Dinh Q and his family immigrated to the United States, where he studied art until his eventual return to Vietnam in 1996. Informed by his personal experience, Lay's series pieces together fractured histories and identities to examine the opposing realities endured by refugees around the world. As displaced Vietnamese people living in America, these realities include loss, oppression, and corruption. The first image we are met with when we enter into the exhibition is an untitled work from his Hill of Poisonous Trees series, which takes its name from the direct translation of Tuol slang, the name given to a former Khmer Rouge prison and interrogation center. The vertical strips of Lay's photo weaving depict a political prisoner cell in Tuol slang, saturated in warm tones. The photograph woven horizontally shows ghostly, monochromatic portraits of a boy and a young man that were imprisoned within the detention center. The portraits woven into the piece were taken by the Khmer Rouge as part of their interrogation process and were later found once the prison was abandoned. Lay confronts the photographic journalism's severe limitations in expressing the complexity of the war, stating that, quote, "photography captures moments but never tells the complete story." Untitled, from the Hill of Poisonous Trees, merges memory and history, standing as a testimony to the lives that once passed through its halls. Lee's weaving technique references the patterns in traditional Vietnamese grass mats. As a child, he learned the craft from his aunt, watching and occasionally assisting her as she wove. It was not until graduate school that Lay's interest in blending cultures and identities led him to experiment with this technique. Using dissimilar photographic images, he cut them into strips and wove them together to create a narrative of fact, fiction, and personal recollection. Once finished, Lay burnt the edges of the weaving, not only to seal the piece, but also to suggest the physical loss and violence attributed to the Vietnam War and Cambodian Genocide. This photo weaving technique creates a complex tapestry that explores at layer and texture, challenging the boundaries of photography. Once entering into the exhibition space, the wall to the right has Lay's Texture of Memory series, which invites the viewers to actually touch the art. Lay's white monochromatic Texture of Memory series is strengthened by its intended illegibility. Distinct from his photo weavings, Lay embroidered portraits of men, women, and children who were interrogated and murdered in Cambodia by the Khmer Rouge. In the aftermath of these atrocities, Cambodian refugees reported blindness as a neurological response to post-traumatic stress. Lay honored this fact through the Texture of Memory series, intending these works to be touched in order to see the image, similar to reading Braille. Lay stated that, quote, "viewers will be invited to touch the embroidered parts, and the oil from their hands will darken the white threads. The images will become more articulated and visible over time, comparable to the shiny textures found on the bas-reliefs of Angkor Wat." Lay reflects on the cultural and political associations of Cambodian architecture in his Monuments and Memorials series. This work contrasts imagery of stone reliefs at Angkor Wat Temple with photographs of holding cells within S21 or Tuol slang, the notorious prison run by the Khmer Rouge. In an attempt to create a classless agrarian society, the radical communist movement ruled Cambodia between 1975 and 1979. An estimated 20,000 dissidents were incarcerated at Tuol slang during this time. Today, that prison stands as a memorial and testimony to those that lost their lives under the regime, estimated to total up to 2 million people. Juxtaposing a prominent Cambodian monument with buildings where such atrocities occurred allows the viewer to examine two extremes of humanity. One highlights victors and cultural identity, while the other commemorates its victims. One of Leigh's most well-known series is his Vietnam to Hollywood series, which uses photojournalistic images and movie stills, and confronts the often inaccurate representations of the Vietnam War prevalent in American news and Hollywood films. In this untitled piece, American soldiers traverse a fiery, glowing landscape. Floating above the soldiers are 3 reclining Vietnamese figures, 2 of which are inverted, suggesting the distortion of representation. Leigh merges these narratives until there is no fact or fiction, only an unstable landscape containing multiple perspectives and memories, both Vietnamese and American. This series, as told by Leigh, comments on the constant attempts the U.S. media makes to, quote, displace and destroy our memories about the Vietnam War to replace it with their versions. The last series we look at today is Leigh's Tapestry series. Inspired by op art, abstract art that focuses on optical illusions, and floral iconography, Leigh created tapestries that touch on the importance of flowers in Vietnamese culture. Used in ceremonies such as funerals or celebrations, flowers convey various meanings depending on the color and species displayed. For instance, pink flowers symbolize vitality, compassion, or empathy, while white and purple flowers represent purity, mourning, and death. Utilizing photos from flower markets in Vietnam, these energetic yet personal tapestries memorialize Vietnamese lives lost to the war, while also signifying a prosperous future for the country. Since his untimely death in 2024, Leigh's Tapestry series now inadvertently serves as a memorial for his life and his work. Thank you for watching our Curators tour. If you would like to view these complex, large-scale works in person, Weaving the Narrative, the Works of Dinh Q will be on display in Gallery 1 until September 27th.